This video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and while supplies last, if you mention Saffron Olive in your order notes, we'll hook you up with a free Saffron Olive with any Card Kingdom order. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Brewer's Minute. So, Core Set 2020 is officially releasing today, I think, when this video goes live, which means it is time for our traditional look at what combos our newest set brings to the modern format. And I gotta say, Core Set 2020, some of these are a little bit of a stretch, but that's part of the fun of this. Some of them are probably more like synergies if you want to be technical, but whatever. Today we have 8 modern combos from Core Set 2020, and we're going to count them down, talk about them. Like usual, I don't have any deck lists for these combos, so if you have some ideas on how we can turn these combos into actual fun and maybe even competitive decks, make sure to let me know in the comments, because maybe with our powers combined, we can come up with some really cool Core Set 2020 lists for modern. So anyway, a quick reminder, and we'll jump right into it. If you haven't already, it would be spectacular of you if you could take a second, click that subscribe button down at the bottom of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk modern combos from Core Set 2020. Coming in at number 8 on our list, and this is one, it's probably a stretch. I might get yelled at a little bit because I don't know if it counts as a combo. We're talking Dread Presence. So Dread Presence, 4 mana 3/3, whatever. The big deal is it has an ability where when a swamp enters the battlefield under our control, we get to either choose to draw a card and gain a life or deal 2 damage to something and gain 2 life. So either a card advantage engine or a shock, I guess, a drainy sort of shock. So Dread Presence cares about swamps entering the battlefield. The thing is, in Modern, there's a lot of like 3-color decks. People gotta play different lands, non-basic lands, creature lands, fast lands, all that stuff that isn't technically a swamp. Well, Dread Presence, if you have an Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth out, it gets pretty crazy because then every land we control is a swamp, which lets us do some cool things. Like we can play a fetch land, which is a swamp, and trigger Dread Presence, and we can crack a fetch land, get whatever land we want with the fetch land, that'll be a swamp to trigger Dread Presence, so we can double, triple trigger, or at worst case, every single land coming into play under our control is going to be a swamp to trigger Dread Presence. So, is it a combo? I don't know. It depends on how loose your definition of combo is, but it's certainly a super sweet synergy that's worth keeping in mind. If you're playing Dread Presence, probably consider running Urborg because it's really powerful with fetch lands and an easy way to play it outside of like an all swamp style of deck, which brings it in at number 8 on our list. Moving on to number 7 on our list, we have Aetmos's All-Seeing, our new You Win the Game card, our big fake. So Aetmos's, this is a weird one. It can win us the game sort of all by itself. So whenever it deals damage to an opponent, we can reveal our hand. If we got 6 or more cards of different converted mana costs, then we are going to make that player lose the game, which in a 2-player game means we win the game. Well, Aetmos's, other just like playing a wide range of converted mana costs, not the easiest card to actually trigger. You need at least 6 cards in your hand, and they gotta be 6 different converted mana cost. However, there is a card in Modern that makes this a lot easier, and that is Seasons Past. So Seasons Past, it is 6 mana, but it returns any number of target cards with different converted mana costs from our graveyard to our hand. Then it goes to the bottom of our deck. So in theory, if we could just play a bunch of self-mills, some Satyr Wayfinders, whatever, fill our graveyard, we can get down Aetmos's, we can cast Seasons Past the next turn, get back 6 cards of all different converted mana costs, attack with Aetmos's, and just win the game on the spot. So Seasons Past, I think, is the best way to try to pull off the I won with Aetmos's merit badge in the Modern format. And again, like, is it a combo? I think it counts. It's close at least. Close enough that we can put it on our list. So coming in at number 7 on our list, Aetmos's plus Seasons Past to get all the converted mana costs back in our hand. Coming in at number 6 on our list, we have Sorum, Imperious Butler. So Sorum, the combo-y aspect of it is a -3. Lets us put a vampire creature from our hand onto the battlefield. Soren's only 3 mana, so in theory, if we can put a big vampire into play, we could be netting a bunch of mana with this -3, maybe even do it multiple times if Soren sticks out. The problem is, vampires, they're just not normally that big or that threatening. Like, there are some, like Butcher Malakir, 7 mana or whatever. However, if we go a little extra and use something like Arcane Adaptation or Conspiracy, then Sorum gets super sweet. These are cards that turn all of our cards into a chosen creature type, and most importantly, they work for creatures that are in our hands as well. So you know what this means? If we can name Vampire with Arcane Adaptation, all of our creatures are going to be vampires, which means they can all go into play with Sorum for free. So let's say we go turn 1 Birds of Paradise, turn 2 Arcane Adaptation named Vampire, turn 3 Sorum. We can have a turn 3 Emrakul the Aeon Storm, for example. Just put it into play because we now have a Vampire Emrakul, which should be enough to win the game. So a little janky, a little weird, but definitely a sweet combo to cheat whatever we want into play with Sorum if we're willing to play Arcane Adaptation or Conspiracy to turn everything into vampires. Next on our list, we have Motorized Reclamation. So, Motorized Reclamation, whenever a creature we control dies, we get to gain a life and draw a card. So, clearly, all we need to do to make Motorized Reclamation into a combo piece is have creatures dying a lot. Well, there's a way we can make this infinite, essentially, in the modern format. So with Motorized Reclamation, if we can toss Heartless Summoning on the battlefield, along with a couple of Mirror Retrievers, we just get to draw our entire deck and gain as much life as we have cards in our deck, essentially. Heartless Summoning makes all of our creatures cost 2 less, which means Mirror Retrievers are free. Also gives a -1/-1, which means when our 1/1 Mirror Retriever comes into play, it's going to die. Well, the first Mirror Retriever gets back the second one, then the second one gets back the first one. They just keep dying and coming back. Play them. With Motorized Reclamation out, that means we just draw the rest of our deck. Maybe we draw into Grape Shot, along with a couple of like Mox Opals or something. Some way to make a little bit of extra mana. Some Simian Spirit Guides. Grape Shot our opponent for a huge amount of Storm, win the game. So a little bit weird and janky, but if you're looking for a combo-y version of the Heartless Summoning Mirror Retriever deck, Motorized Reclamation adds a really unique element to it with all that life gain and being able to draw our entire deck for 0 mana once we get everything set up. Coming in at number 4 on our list, we have Brought Back. So Brought Back, one of the most hyped cards, I think, from Core Set 2020, but it's actually a little bit hard to find a combo for it. Basically, 2-mana instant can return 2 target permanents that went into our graveyard from the battlefield this turn. They come back into play tapped. Being tapped doesn't really matter, so how do you turn Brought Back from a good value card that gets back a couple of fetch lands into a game-ending combo piece? And it takes a few steps, but step 1 is we need a sack outlet, so we can put creatures from the battlefield into our graveyard for Brought Back. So let's say it's Altar of Dementia, although it's worth pointing out it can be Carrion Feeder, it can be Visceracia, anything that is free and can repeatedly sacrifice a creature is going to get the job done. The nice side of Altar of Dementia is it's actually a win condition as well. If you can activate it enough times, you just mill your opponent out of the game. So let's say we have down our Altar of Dementia. Next up, we need 2 creatures for Brought Back. Creature number 1, Eternal Witness. Creature number 2, I know, we're going really deep, but Prosperous Pirates. When it comes into play, it makes 2 treasure tokens. So the loop here is actually pretty simple. We sacrifice our Eternal Witness, we sacrifice our Prosperous Pirates. They both go to the graveyard. Then we use Brought Back to get them both back. Eternal Witness, when it comes into play, is going to get back our Brought Back. Prosperous Pirates, when it returns to play, is going to give us 2 treasures. So that's the 2 mana we need to Brought Back again. So we Altar of Dementia, sack Eternal Witness, sack Prosperous Pirates, use the Brought Back that Eternal Witness literally brought back to our hand to do it again, get them back, loop, mill our opponent out of the game. However we're doing it, we could use, like I said, Carrion Feeder, make it infinitely big, or Scribe through a deck with Visceracia here. Altar of Dementia, though, just kills our opponent on the spot. So that's kind of the easiest way to do it. There's also like another roundabout way with Pitiless Plunder. Pitiless Plunder makes a treasure whenever another creature we control dies. So that's kind of the downside of Pitiless Plunder. If Pitiless Plunder triggered when it died, it would be super easy, because then we just sack Eternal Witness, get a treasure, sack Pitiless Plunder, that's 2 treasures for Brought Back, do it again. So with Pitiless Plunder, we need Eternal Witness and any other creature, essentially. Then we sack Eternal Witness, we sack the other creature, we get 2 treasures from Pitiless Plunder, then we use the mana from the treasures to Brought Back, get back Eternal Witness, whatever other creature it is, do it again, infinite loop, infinite sacrifices, infinite enter the battlefield triggers, leave the battlefield triggers. So basically, number 4 on our list, Brought Back, sack outlet, Eternal Witness, plus other piece shenanigans, which, while it does take a lot of pieces to make it work, when it all comes together, it seems pretty spectacular, which brings it in number 4 on our list. Coming in At number 3 on our list, we got one of my favorite cards from the set, Flood of Tears. So Flood of Tears, 6 mana, bounces all non-land permanents. The big deal, though, is if you had 4 or more non-token permanents that were bounced, you get to put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So this one, pretty simple. You play a bunch of Batted Orcs, Birds of Paradise, Utopia Sprawl, Arbor Elf. With these cards, you could get to the 6 mana for Flood of Tears really quickly, like as early as turn 3 potentially, along with putting permanents on the battlefield. Then you bounce everything, slam an Emrakul into play, and you just proceed to win the game with a massive Emrakul. So not really tricky. A lot of modern combos involve cheating something massive into play. But remember, we're playing Modern. There's no show and tell in the format. There's no sneak attack in the format. So even though it takes a lot of work, Flood of Tears, putting Emrakul into play as early as turn 3, that's good enough to win a lot of games in the Modern format. Like a turn 3 Emrakul gonna get the job done. And Flood of Tears is a really sweet way of doing it. Also, gets rid of all of our opponent's stuff. So if they get a bunch of stuff around to be annihilated, it's going to be bounced back to their hand when we attack, eat all our opponent's lands. So it guarantees the Emrakul is going to be even better because our opponent's not going to have all their permanents anyway, which brings Flood of Tears into Emrakul with the help of Mana Dorks in at number 3 on our list. Coming in at number 2 on the list, and now we're getting to the range of combos that might actually be kind of competitive. Leyline of Abundance can allow for some really crazy things. It comes into play for free if it's in our opening hand. If we tap a creature for mana, we get an extra green. Then we can pay a bunch of mana to put a counter on each creature we control. Well, the combo here is actually one of the fastest combos from Core Set 2020. Leyline of Abundance, along with Birds of Paradise and Freed from the Wheel. So here's the plan. Turn 0, we put Leyline into play. Turn 1, we play Birds of Paradise. Turn 2, we untap. Now we'll have 2 lands and a Birds of Paradise that can tap for 2 mana. So 4 mana on turn 2. We use 3 of that mana to Freed from the Wheel our Birds of Paradise. Then the fun begins. We use the leftover blue mana, untap Birds of Paradise. Then we tap Birds of Paradise for 2 mana, untap it with Freed for Real for 1 mana, basically turn 2 infinite mana, and more importantly, we've seen like the Vizier Druid combo deck that makes infinite mana really quickly. They need another piece to win the game though, so there's times when they make infinite mana, but they can't actually close out the game because they don't have their Walking Ballista or Karn or Duskwatch Recruit or whatever. With this combo, thanks to Leyline of Abundance, we're guaranteed to win the game because the end result is we just make like 1,000 mana, then we activate Leyline's 8 mana put a counter on everything ability, which is going to make like a 100-powered Birds of Paradise, flies over, smashes our opponent to death in the air. So turn 2 combo kill. Leyline of Abundance, Birds of Paradise, Freed from the Real, coming soon to Modern in Core Set 2020. Finally, number 1 on our list, speaking of winning the game on turn 2, we have Colossal Hammer Wombo combo. So Colossal Hammer, one of the most interesting equipment we've got in a while. 1 mana to give a creature +10/+10. It does lose flying, but whatever. +10/+10. That is a huge boost for 1 mana. The downside is it's 8 mana to equip, so gonna take a lot of mana to get on a creature. However, if we can cheat on the equip cost, Colossal Hammer gets absurdly powerful. And there are a bunch of ways that we can make this happen in Modern. So, Pure Steel Paladin, 3 artifacts on the battlefield, we can equip anything for free. Quest for the Holy Relic, gotta have a bunch of creatures enter the battlefield, but once 5 do, we can sack it. We can even tutor our Colossal Hammer from our library, put it into play, equipped to a creature. However, the fastest way to do this is Magnetic Theft. Magnetic Theft is just 1 mana, attach an equipment to target creature. So here's what we're setting up. Let's say we're starting a game of Modern. Turn 1, we want to play something like Core Duelist or Glistener Elf. Turn 2, we Colossal Hammer. 1 more mana, Magnetic Theft, put the hammer on Core Duelist or Glistener Elf, swing in, our opponent's going to die. If it's Core Duelist, we're going to have a 11/11 double striker. That is 22 damage. If it's Glistener Elf, it's an 11 power infect creature. 1-shot kill because it only takes 10 infect. So that's a 3 card, plus your lands, but 3 card, turn 2, I win the game combo. And the nice thing about this deck is we got the backups. Like, yes, the most explosive thing you can do is win on turn 2 with Magnetic Theft, but like we were talking about, there's several ways to equip things for free, and there's backup 1-drops that can win in 1 shot, so you can play a bunch of redundant copies of the combo, which makes it a lot more consistent, I think, than it would be if we just had a single way to put our Colossal Hammer on a creature, which brings Colossal Hammer turn 2 kill combo in at number 1 on our list. Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of our 8 modern combos from Core Set 2020. So let me know what you think about all these combos. Which of them actually have a chance in the format? What's your favorite? What other combos are there from Core Set 2020? Can you come up with any sweet deck lists to take advantage of these combos? Maybe together we can come up with some sweet ideas, some fun decks taking advantage of these new Core Set 2020 cards. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed our 8 modern combos from Core Set 2020, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.